Alright, so let's continue further. So now in this section we will start using Apollo client. Okay, so Apollo client is used basically to consume the GraphQL API. So in this video we will understand why we need Apollo client on the first place. So first of all, I'll show you a general way of consuming GraphQL APIs, okay, without using Apollo client. Okay, so what I have done is I have opened the root folder in my VS Code, that is GraphQL paid course, and here I have all the correlated to my GraphQL API. Okay, and here I have client folder also. So for now, again, if you want to start a development server, you have to start individually. So let's say in order to start node.js server, here we have to type nodemon, and before starting node server we should also start XAMPP. Okay, yep, that's required here, nodemon, and let me start this. Yep, and here I can type nodemon server.js. Okay, and to start the React server I have to open a terminal in client directory, and here you can type npm start. Okay, yes, so now let's assume, okay, I'll show you how you can basically consume GraphQL API without using Apollo client. So let's say, let me open one component, let's say any component. Let's say maybe we can open yeah, chat screen. Okay, let's say in this chat screen we will show all the messages, right? So so let's see how we can consume that API, GraphQL API. So what we will do is, let's say here we have to first of all import use state, and we have to initialize the state. Let's say const, we will have all messages. Okay, and then to update the messages, once we have the messages available, we will update this state. So for that we have to create set messages, and initially we can keep this an empty array maybe. Okay, and then let me create a function, let's say get all messages. Okay, and what this function will do is basically what we want to do, let's go to our GraphQL first, and let's go to our schema. To get all the messages we have to execute this query, right? Okay, so how can we do that? So basically we have to make a post request, right? So whenever we want to consume GraphQL API, that will always be a post request, that we have already understood in our introduction videos. So what we will have to do here is we can use fetch. Okay, so we can use fetch, and we want to make a network request to http:// local host and 4000 / here is our GraphQL server running. Okay, and here I will pass a second argument here, and that will be method. Method will always be post. Okay, no matter if you want to get some data, or you want to post, or you want to mutate some data, I should say that way. If you want to get data or you want to mutate data, method will always be post here. Okay, and here you have to add a header, headers, and headers will be, first of all we will be passing a JSON data. For that, here we have to add content type, content type, and that will be application / JSON. And apart from that, let's say you have to attach a token, if that's because this is a protected resource, right? Yeah, that's a protected resource. Let me show that. Let's go to our resolvers. Yes, this is a protected resource, right? So we have to also attach a header or attach a token in our headers. So here you have to add a authorization, and that will be equal to the token, okay, that we will add later. Okay, apart from that, here we will have to add a body. Okay, what data we want to post. So here we have to add JSON.stringify. So basically you have to stringify the object before passing. Okay, and now inside this object we will have something called as query property. Okay, if you want to query data or you want to mutate data, you have to write here query property only. Okay, whether you want to mutate data or query data, here you will write always query property. Okay, and this will be, here we have to use backticks. Okay, and here we can paste a sample query. Let me first go to my GraphQL playground. Okay, and let me copy a sample query here to get all the messages. Yeah, message by user. Here is our messages. In header we have token. Okay, let me run this. If this query can run successfully. Yep, it is running. Okay, so let me copy this query, Control C, and here I'll paste this query. Okay, so inside backtext we have to add your query, and see, to this query we have to pass a variable, right? Let's say if you want to pass a variable, here you have to create one more property, variables, 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 and that will be again an object. So we can copy it from here, Control C and Control V, like so, and let's copy this token. Okay, Control C, and here let me paste this token also. Okay, and okay, once it's done, once we have the data, then we can add then, and first of all we have to parse the data which we have got into JSON, and then finally we will get the data. And after data you may have to update your state, right? Update state. Okay, that's a typical way you will execute your queries or mutation without using Apollo client. Okay, let's try it. This should work too. Okay, this should work, I guess. So let me open my console and we should be able to see the data once I open my chat screen. If I click on here, let's see, we should get logged here, the data. Oh, actually, my bad. We have to call this function somewhere, right? So let's say I want to, here when our components loads up, I want to make this network request automatically. For that we have to import use effect hook, use effect hook. Okay, and here let me minimize this message, and here we have to use this use effect, and here we have to pass a function, and this function automatically gets executed when our component mounts, and here I can call this get all messages function. Okay, let's save this, and now in the console we should see something. I think my Apollo server is not running. Is it? We got the error because I don't know, server is not running, it seems like. Let me type here node server again. And it's working now. Let me refresh this. And there you go. Here you can see we have got the data, and it has these messages, message by user, when we have 3 messages. So this is how you can consume your GraphQL API on your client side using fetch. But if you will notice the amount of code that we have written, first of all we initialize the state, and then we use effect, and then we used this so lengthy code. So this is what we call it as state management. Okay, so this state management related to server, okay, related to data that we get from the server, this Apollo client will automate it for us. Okay, so Apollo client provides us hooks, useQuery, use mutation, that will reduce this line of code, and it will help us in managing the state. Okay, yes, so that's the main advantage of using Apollo client. Apart from that, it has many advantages. It also caches the data so that your website runs fast. Okay, your content gets loaded very quickly because it caches the data, and that you will get to know when we will start using it. So that's it for this video. We will continue further in the next one. Alright, so let's start using Apollo client from this video onwards. So what I'll do is, first of all, I'll get rid of this code that I wrote in previous video, because we will not be doing things this way. Okay, yep, okay, that's done. Now let's install it, so I have opened the documentation of Apollo client. We will follow the documentation. So I'll copy this command, Control C, and I'll open my React terminal. Oh, it's compiling. Okay, let me open another terminal, or yeah, I can open another terminal here in client, inside my client directory, and I'll do a right click. Now here, while installing Apollo client, okay, hear me out on this. I'll install the specific version, that is 3 point, let me see here, which is the latest version, 3.5.10, 3.5.10. So I would also recommend that you also install the same version, so that you and we both can be on a same page. Okay, yes, let's enter and let's wait for a few seconds, and it's done, it seems. Okay, so I can close it, and okay, let's follow the documentation. So we have to import couple of things, and then we have to install, we have to initialize our client. Okay, and then we have to provide the client to a React application, like this, and then we can start using it. Yeah, perfect. So what I'll do is, I'll copy this much amount of code. Okay, Control C, and uh, we can put this code in our index.js. This is the entry file. Here we have our app component, which is the root level component. Okay, so I can basically paste this code here, and here after this browser router, here I can add Apollo provider, and let me Control X and wrap my app component with Apollo provider, and now I can provide my client here by adding a client prop, and the value of that will be the client constant that we have created here. Okay, and here URI we have to change. So here we have to provide the URI where our GraphQL API is running, so that is this URL. Okay, Control C and Control V. That's it. That's it. And these two things we do not need it. Okay, so that now that we have added a Apollo client in a React application, now we can start using hooks. Alright, let's start using the hooks that Apollo client provides us. So what I'll do is I will close this actually, and I'll close this. First of all, I'll open my app.js. Okay, and let me comment this home screen, and let me uncomment this. So later we will add a functionality so that once the user is logged in, they can see the home screen component. Okay, that we will add little later. But first of all, let's go to our auth screen. Okay, so the first hook that we will be learning is useMutation. So we can use this useMutation to basically make a mutation request. Okay, for example, in our case, we have to sign up a user. Okay, so we will have to import useMutation. Okay, let's import it. Import something from @Apollo client, and the name of the hook is useMutation, like so. Okay, yep, and we have to initialize the hook. Since it's a hook, so we have to initialize it on the top. That will be equal to use mutation, and here we have to pass our mutation query, or mutation operation, I can say. So what we can do is, here in the source, okay, we can create one folder. Okay, and let's give it a name of maybe GraphQL, GraphQL. Okay, and here what I'll do is I'll create a file called as mutations, mutations.js, like so. And here let me copy the mutation to sign up a user. Okay, yep. So here I'll copy this code, and we will have to import, first of all, yeah, we will have to import something from GraphQL, and that is GQL. Okay, and let's export this. Okay, so I'll export the mutation query, export const, so that I can use it in other files. Const, and let's give this mutation name, maybe signup, signup, signup underscore user, everything in capital letter. Okay, and then I can use GQL and then backticks, and here I can basically pass the query. Here I can paste the query, or mutation operation I should say, not query. Okay, yep. So this mutation operation expects us to pass this variable that we will be passing while calling the function. Okay, yeah. So since now I have exported it, now I can pass this sign up user operation, mutation operation here. So I'll pass up sign up user. If I click on it, VS Code will automatically import it for me. Okay, now this use mutation provides us two elements. First is the function which we can call when an event occurs, for example on click of button. So let's give that function name of maybe sign up user. Okay, and then it provides a second element where, let's say, when the user is getting signed up, so basically we have data, and we have loading, and we have error. We have these three things available to us. So while our request is processing, we will have access to the loading, and loading will be true in that case. Once our request is successfully processed, at that time we will have the data available. Okay, that is the user details. Okay, so our GraphQL API is responding us with the detail of the user who is signing up, that we will get access to in data once it's available, and if we have any error while processing the request, that also we can get access to. Okay, yes. So here when we need to sign up a user, so we have this handle submit. So whenever our form submits, then we can sign up. Okay, so instead of doing a log here first of all I'll add a if condition. If login show login, yeah, so if show login is true, in that case we have to sign in user. Okay, we have to sign in user. Okay, else we have to sign up. Okay, yeah. So sign up logic we will write inside else. So we can use this sign up user method, and here we have to pass an object. Basically we have to pass this variable, right, user new. Okay, so I'll copy this, and here we have to write user new, or not like this. Here basically we have to write variables, 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 and then again it will be an object, and here it will be user new. Okay, and then the user new will be equal to the form data. Okay, yes. So make sure that here the name that you have given here, first name, last name, and email, password, that should this name, okay, that should match the schema. Okay, that should match here. Okay, first name, last name, email, and password. Okay, else you will get an error. Okay, because we are passing our form as it is, right? We are passing our form data as it is, right? And inside this form data, our state which is an empty object, here the key are decided based on the what name that we have given, right? Okay, to these fields. So that's why here this name should match our schema. Okay, yeah, that is this schema, user input. Okay, so so that's done, I think. Yeah, we are good. Okay, now once the user is signed up, okay, then what we can do is, maybe let's say, if I can write it this way. Okay, if loading is true, at that time what I can do is I can return maybe a box. Do we have box here? Yeah, we have. box, and inside this box let me add a parenthesis here actually. Yeah, and inside this box we will have first of all circular progress bar. So I'll import the circular progress bar component here. uh, Circular progress bar, and then we will have typography, typo typography with a variant at 6, and let's say here I can write maybe you authenticating. Okay, yep. And once we have the data, okay, so once we have the data, where is our form? Okay, before this please login or sign up text, here I can add a condition here. Once we have the data, okay, so what I'll do is first of all, I'll rename this data actually, because we will be, next video we will be initializing one more use mutation hook. So let's rename this data to, let's say, sign up data, sign up data, and rename this loading to, let's say, L1, and rename this error to, let's say, E1. Okay, oh, not like this, uh, E1. Okay, yep. And here what we can do is, here we can add a condition that if sign up data we have that, then in that case we will return, uh, here we have actually alert. In material UI we can use this green alert. Okay, so let me copy this alert which has this CVRT success. Okay, control C, and first of all let me import this as well from here, alert, and I can paste it here. And here what I can do is, here I can write uh, here I can write, once the user is sign up, so from the sign up data I can access sign up user. Okay, what is the name of our mutation? It's sign up user. So we will have a key with the name sign up user, and then it will have all the details, first name, last name. Okay, sign up, and here I have to write sign up user, and then I can access, let's say, first name. Okay, and here I can write this user is signed up, SIGNUP signed up. Okay, yep. Perfect. Okay, and let's say if we have any error. Okay, so if we have any error, okay, for example, when we are trying to sign up a same user, at that time we will have an error, right? So here at that time what we can do is, we can copy this red alert with a red background, control C, and here then we can show this, and here we will show the message from the error, e1 dot message. Okay, perfect. So I think we are good. Let's test this out now. Okay, oh wow, GQL was not found in GraphQL. My bad. So GQL is basically in Apollo client, my bad. So we have to here write @Apollo client. Yep, let's save this, and this should fix the issue. Loading is not defined, where in auth screen. Okay, let me see where the loading is. If okay, here we have to write L1 now. Perfect, no problem. Okay, let's sign up first of all, and let me open the console. If we have any error, then that we can get to know about it. Okay, here let's say we will sign up a new user, right? So let's give it a nice name, maybe Hitesh, and let's say Hitesh Sharma. Email will be hitesh hitesh.com. Password will be 12345. If I click on sign up, authenticating, I saw that authentication screen, and here I can see Hitesh is signed up. All right, perfect. This looks so awesome. I love it. Okay. So we can little bit work on this loading screen. Actually, let me make it to true actually here for now. Okay, let's work on this. Okay, let's make it center, right? So in order to center this, what I can do is basically I can add another box. Okay, and now to the root box, to this root box I can add little style. So I can basically add display of flex and justify content. See, content will be center, and align item will also be center, to center it both horizontally and vertically. And also we have to give it a height also, so that it can center vertically. So let me give it 100 vh, the whole screen size basically. Okay, let's save this, and this should look good now. Yep, perfect. It's looking beautiful. Yep. And to this box I can basically give text align, and that will be center, to center the circular actually progress bar. Okay, let's save this, and perfect. Now it's looking perfect. So we will continue in the next video. Alright, now let's add the logic for logging in. Okay, here let me here write again L1. Yep, and one more thing that I noticed is we should add required to these all fields, so that user cannot submit this form with the empty fields, right? So this is a small validation that we can add here. Again, let's do this. Yep. So now let's save this, and here if I try to sign up, okay, these all are mandatory now. Perfect. Yep. So let me here. So let's first of all write a mutation here, mutation operation for logging in or signing in. Const, let's say here we can give name, let's give it a login name. Okay, login user, and again that will be equal to GQL, and here we can paste the operation. Let me get it from here. So let me control C, and here let's paste here. Okay, so this time we have to pass a variable user sign in, and it will have email and password only. Perfect. So first of all, in our screen we have to import this login user, and I can put my cursor here, and I can press Alt Shift down key to duplicate this line of code, and here I will pass login user this time. Okay, and then here I can write login username. I can give login user, and I can call this function when some event occurs. And here I can, to this data I can rename this data to, let's say, login data, and loading will be e2 this time, and error will be e2 this time, e2. Okay, and here I can basically add or here. Okay, if L2 is true, then also we will show this circular progress and this authenticating text here. Okay, and here when show login is true, here we can login user, right? So here I'll call this login user mutation, and I'll pass the object, and here it will have variables, and this time variable will be this user sign in, control C and control V, and this will be again equal to form data. Okay, like so. So that's done here. We could also write everything on a new line actually, that makes little, code little bit of the clean to look. Okay, yeah, like this looks better, right? Or we can keep it. Okay, you can do the refactoring later. Yeah, so let me think of it, right? Once we have this login data, we can write a if condition, or the better way would be here also I can add a comma, and here object, here also we have on completed. Okay, on completed has access to the data. Okay, here also we can get access to the data. This is the perfect place. Let's say you want to do something when the request gets successful, right? This is the perfect place where you can do. Okay, yeah, because let's say if you add a condition like this, let's say if once the login data is available, lo login data is available, then do something. This also you can add, but this code can run multiple times, because if some state changes, this will again re-render, so it will run multiple times. So it's better that instead of writing this way, here add on complete and then do the logic. Okay, so once this user is logged in, what we will do now here is, first of all we have to change our application level state. So we need to create here state so that we can re-render these components. Once the user is logged in, we can re-render this app component so that this app component can show the home screen. Okay, and also we have to store the token in our local storage. We have to store the token somewhere in the browser, either in the local storage or either in the cookie, so that we can access the protected resources later. So later we can attach that token in our headers. Okay, yeah. So here what we can do is, first of all we can store it in local storage. We can easily access local storage from JavaScript API. That's why it's a little convenient to store the token and in local storage, so that we can easily write logic based on the token if we have or not in our local storage. That's why it's little convenient for us developer to write the logic. That's why we store the token in local storage. So let's give this a key of JWT, and the value of this will be, we will have login data, or here I can write data. In data we will have access to sign in user, right? What is the name of this operation? Sign in user, right? So we will have this sign in user, and here we will have JWT or token. What's the name of we will have token. Okay, control C and control V. Okay, yep. And then we have to change our state. Okay, that we will do later. Okay, for now let's try this if logging in works or not. Okay, so what I'll do is, first of all here, where is my application? Yeah, here I'll open my local storage. I think I have the token already. Okay, from my previous application. Okay, so I'll cleared it, and now let's log in. Okay, let's try to log in this user that we signed up, right? And password will be 12345. Let's click on login, authenticating, and it seems like it's logged in. And let me here reload this. Okay, so I think it didn't work, or what? We do not have token here. On complete local storage, JWT set data sign up user token. Okay, let me do a console.log also here. Console.log and then the data. Okay, yep. Here, let me log in again. 12345. Log in. And first of all, let me see on the console. User doesn't exist with that email. Oh, my bad. That's the error, I think so. Okay, so if we have any error, that also we should show, Hana. Okay, so here what I'll do is, here I'll duplicate this line. If we have any error, let's say if we have this E2 available, then also here we can show the message. Okay, yep. Okay, let's here try to sign up this user again. I think that's the correct email that I have entered. 12345 login. User doesn't exist with that email. Okay, so seems like the email is wrong here. Why this loading never becomes is never becoming false here? That's also an issue, it seems like. To do a lot of work, it seems like. Okay, so let me look into my database, or actually I can spin up my studio, Prisma Studio actually here. Npx Prisma Studio. Alright, so this is the correct email. Okay, so let me copy this and sign up with this. Or we can pick any email, right? Yeah, I just want to see if it is storing in local storage or not. 12345 login, and now let me go to my, okay, I can see the log here. Okay, perfect. And here in my application I have the token. Okay, perfect. So that is working. Okay, but if I enter a wrong email here, then it's seems like it's loading forever. Oh wow, this time it worked. I don't know why this is happening. This time it's worked, right? That's why I was wondering why this loading was spinning up forever, because that should not happen, because once we have the error, then that loading will become false. Yeah, it's working, it seems like now. Let me try this again. Yep, it works. Perfect. Perfect. So yeah, now what we need to do here, okay, now uh we have to re-render our app. Okay, now for to achieve this functionality, we should have some, global state management, for example Redux or context API. But I do not want to dive into that stuff, because this is not a React course. This is more focused towards the GraphQL related stuff. Okay, so I'll keep things simple. I will not use Redux or context API. Instead, what I'll do is, here I'll create a state, because I will create my state here, and I'll pass things as a prop to these components. Okay, yep, that you will get to know here. So basically we have to create state in app. Okay, so that we can re-render the app component whenever that state changes. Okay, uh, yeah, so here it will be use state like so, and let's say here I can write maybe logged and set logged in. Okay, yep, and logged in I can write it maybe logged in. Okay, and here if we have JWT in our local storage, local storage dot, this time I will use get item, I'll get JWT. If we have this JWT key available in our local storage, in that case we will return true, else we will return false. Okay, now here we can basically add ternary here, right? So here what I'll do is, if logged in is true, control C, then we will show the home screen, control X, and boom, else we will show our auth screen. Simple logic. Okay, now, okay, it seems like something I missed here. What is wrong here? Home screen is declared but never used. Hmm, I think we have to add an empty fragment here. Looks like. Yep. Okay. We have to return a component on the root level. Yeah. So anyway, now we should also be able to change this state so that we can re-render our app component, right? If let's say user gets logged out or if user gets logs in, then we have to change this state also. Okay. Yep. And for that, I will pass to both these. I will pass the set login as a prop. Okay, so I'll pass here set login, and the value of that will be set logged in. Okay, and I'll copy this and I'll pass the same to my home screen also. Okay, let's save this, and here in my auth screen, uh, here once the user gets logged in, we will store the token and we will have access to the prop, that is uh, logged in, right? Control V. Yep. Yeah. So we have access to the set logged in prop. Okay. We have passed it from here, right? And that's a simple function. And here that function we can call it simply set set logged in, and that will be true. Okay. Yep. Let's save this and let's try this functionality, huh? Okay. So let me clear this first of all, and now I will refresh this, so I will be back to my authentication screen. Okay, and here let me log in again. Let's pick any user. Let's pick this bad boy. Okay, and let me paste the email here, and password will be 12345. Login, authenticating, and boom, there you go. We can see the home screen. Our app component got re-rendered. Beautiful. Let's add the functionality to logout also. Now this logout is present in sidebar, I think so. So let me think. First of all, we have this set logged in available in our home. Okay, so let me first get this in my home. So that's the pain here, right? We should have used context API to pass this data through provider, right? That would have been more easier way, but that will take little bit of extra efforts. Okay, so I'm keeping things simple. uh, where is my home screen? Here is my home screen. Here I'll basically destructure uh, this set login. Control C, Control V. Okay, and again I will pass it as a prop to my sidebar. Okay, Control C, and in sidebar, I think, let me open my sidebar. I have the icon of logout. Yep, here it is. Okay, so here I can add on on click. First of all, we will clear our local storage. Okay, first of all, local storage dot remove item, and we have to remove that JWT, and then we will basically destructure. From here we will destructure set login and we will make it to false. Okay, set logged in and we will make it to false, like so. Let's save this, and this should work according to me. Okay, so see, we have this in our local storage. Now if I click on logout, I'm back to login screen, and also the token is removed. Perfect. Okay, so that's it for this video. We'll continue in the next one. Alright, so let's keep going. So let's say when the user is logged in, let me pick any random user. Control C, control v suresh@suresh.com 12345 login. And once we are logged in here, we should show the users who are available in our database except the user who is logged in, right? Because again, we do not want to chat with ourselves, right? That's why we are showing all the users except the who is logged in. Yeah, so we already have a query for that. Okay, so if I go in our resolvers, and we already have a query users, and it returns all the users except who is logged in. Okay, yep. So we can execute this query from a client side, that is React application. Okay, so let me here open my sidebar. This is the perfect place. Here we can execute it, right? Okay, here we have our static array of users. Now we can make it dynamic, or I should say we will fetch it from a GraphQL server. Perfect. Okay, so yeah, so we have to do a couple of things here. We will be using, to achieve this functionality, we will be using a useQuery hook that is provided by uh, Apollo client. Okay, so basically we have to initialize it and we have to pass a query to it, and this query will automatically get executed when our component loads up. Okay, so we do not have to call any function when some event occurs. This query will automatically get executed. So first of all, let me here in my GraphQL folder create a new folder, queries.js. Okay, and I'll copy some of the stuff from here, control C, and I'll paste little bit of the boiler code here. I'll get rid of this thing, and here let's give this query a name of, let's say, get all users, like so. Okay, and let me here open my playground, and I'll copy this query and paste it in my, oh, is it not running? Let me see. Okay. So here we have get all users query with us. Okay, let me execute this, and that's here we should have authorization, and authorization should have the token. Okay, so we should have token attached in our header. This is a protected resource. Okay, yeah, so that also we have to write the logic in our React side. So here I can paste this query. Okay, yep, and now let's go to our sidebar. Yep, and here let me get rid of this, or let me comment this for now. And here we can, what we can do is basically we can write use query, and I'll hit enter. It will automatically get imported from Apollo client, and here I'll pass get all users. It automatically gets imported. Now here I need three things from use query hook. It gives us three things. Okay, first is the loading. So while the data is getting fetched, the loading will be true, and let's say once we have the response, then that we can get in data, and if we have any error while making a request, that also we can access. So these three things we want. Okay, yep. And for now what I can do is, first of all, I can, let's say here, write let me write it here. Yeah, if the loading is true, then I can return maybe for now, do we have typography imported already? Yes, typography, and I can here give variant of, let's say, h6 and loading chats. Okay, and then let's say once we have the data, I can log it, right? Yeah, if we have the data available, for now let's console.log it. Now if I run it now, if let's save this and let's see what happens. I should get error in my console that user is not logged in. Let me also log that error. If we have any error, then please log it. Console.log error message. Okay, let's log these three things. So let me open my React application and let me here. Oh, users is not defined. Okay, let me uncomment this for now. Let's save this. Yep, I want to see my console here. Okay, it's loading chats, and here you can see we have got error, you must be logged in. So we are not logged in, that's why we didn't get any response. Okay, that's why we didn't get anything in our data. So how can we log in? So basically we have a token in our local storage, right? We have a token in our local storage. We have to include this token in headers while making this request. How can we achieve this? So for some reason, is it not running? Yeah, it's running. Here in the documentation, scroll down and here you will find something called as authentication. Inside networking here, you will find this authentication. Click on it. So if you scroll down here, they have mentioned the step that you can follow to attach the token in your headers. Okay, so first of all, what you have to do is you have to import something called a set context, and then we have to basically get the token from local storage, and we are basically returning headers. We are spreading everything that we have in headers, and we are overriding this authorization, and we are adding our token here. Okay, that's the steps that we have to follow to attach the token in the request. Okay, we will follow it. So let me here, what I can do is I can, first of all, I can copy this whole code, I think. Yep, let's do it. Control C, and I will open my React app, and here let me open my index.js. Okay, yep, we have to open this, and let me paste the code which I copied. Here it is. Okay, and here we have HTTP link. Okay, perfect. Okay, no problem. Here we have to pass this control C. I'll copy my GraphQL URL and I'll pass that here. Okay, our GraphQL is running on this URI, and rest everything we can keep it. Okay, and here we do not have to add any bearer or something like that. I can get rid of this, and here I can add a simple or. Let's say if we have the token, then attach it in authorization, else we can attach an empty string. And here instead of writing token, we have to write JWT. Our name of our key is JWT. Or we can do it directly here. Let me control X and let me directly put this here, right? We can reduce the line of code here. Yep. So that's how we can add the token in our authorization. And now we have to add this link. Okay. And we have to write auth-link.concat and pass HTTP link. Okay. No issues. Here instead of writing URI, this time we have to, I will comment this line of code, and here we have to pass URI. Okay, and that will be HTTP link dot concat or auth-link dot concat auth-link dot concat, and here I'll pass HTTP link, like so. That's the syntax. Okay, that's the syntax we have to follow. We can't do anything here. That's the syntax that we have to follow here. Okay, and I can get rid of this URI. Get rid of URI. Yep. And here instead of writing URI, we have to write link. Yeah, that's important here. Don't forget to add this link instead of URI, right? Yep. That's all we need. Okay, let me save this and I'll reload, and I should get all the users in my console now. Create HTTP link is not defined. Okay, that also we have to import, right? Yep, from Apollo client we have to import create HTTP link. Okay, let's save this, and now in our console we should be able to see all the users here. So chat is loading. Okay, here you can see we have all the users from our database. Right now we have 3 users. We can see the details here. Okay, yep. So let's open a sidebar now, and now I can actually get rid of this thing. Okay, I will completely remove this. Okay, our application will break because here we are using that users. Just wait for few seconds. Here if the loading is true, we are showing loading chats. That this I can remove. Okay, we already know that we are getting details here, and if we have any error, we are logging it, that's fine. Okay, we are logging it, that's fine. Apart from this, yeah, now we have in data we have users, right? In data we have this users, and that's array. Okay, so what we can do here is simply here we can write data dot users dot map. That's it, and it should work. Okay, let's save this, and now this should work. All right, now these users are coming from our database. Beautiful, awesome. I love it. Right. So we have achieved this functionality. Now, there are a lot of things that you should know about this use query. Okay, I'll tell you those. Let me go back to my use query. So first of all, uh, let's say here I would like to tell you about the caching, a little bit about the caching. So what this use query does, it basically what it does, it executes a query, and whatever the response, whatever the data we get from a GraphQL server, it caches that. Okay, let's say now if I log out from my application and if I relog in, then it will not make a network call, it will directly fetch these users from our cache. So it's optimizing the network calls here, right? So that's what this use query hook does for it. So here are different fetch policies. So the that one I told you right now is the cache first policy. What it does, it caches the data. Okay, and when we visit the same component one more time, it will directly load the data from the cache. We call it as cache first, so it will not make a network call for the second time. Okay, yes, if we have the data in cache, it will load directly the data from cache and it will not make a network call. Okay, you can read this description here, and we have couple of more here. Let's say we can use this cache and network also. What it does, it first takes the data from our cache, and then parallelly it also makes a network call and it see if we have some updated data or not, and it also updates the UI simultaneously. So this is also a good policy that you can use here. Okay, yeah, and you can read here more what all different policies we have. These two are frequently used in real world, so you can keep a note of it. Okay, so basically you can pass an object to it, and here you can pass fetch policy and which policy you want to use. This is the default. Okay, fetch first is the default here. Yep. So apart from that, let's say you can also import a refetch. Okay, here from also here you can also import something called as refetch. Let's say and you can call this refetch function on when some event occurs. Let's say on click of button, let's say a new user will sign up in an application, then in that case this is not going to be loaded in real time, right? This user is not going to be loaded in the real time. Let's say we can provide a button here so that user can click on this refresh button and this query will execute again, and here you can see the newly signed up user. Okay, but for now we do not need it. So I think that's it for this use query, and we will continue further in the next one. All right, so let's keep going. So now let's say uh, if I click on a user, I can see the chat screen, but this is the static data, right? Now we can make it dynamic. Now if you remember from the previous video, we have couple of messages exchanged between this Mukesh and the logged in user who is Suresh, right? We have couple of messages exchanges, so maybe we can show the messages here. Okay, yep. So for that we have to open our chat screen component, and we have already the ID of the name, right? Available in our chat screen, right? So all we have to do is here, let's me first create a query for it. I'll export const and let's give it a name of, let's say, get message. Okay, and GQL backticks here, and here from my sandbox I can uh, copy this messages by user, and we have to pass this query variable, right? Receiver ID, yes. Control C and Control V. Okay, and that's it. And then we can basically initialize my use query hook here. Use query, and here I can pass get all message. It will automatically import it for me, and then now I can destructure couple of things from use query. One is the data, and then loading and error. Okay, apart from that we also have to pass a variable. Okay, so here we have to pass, I can add a comma here, and here I can pass variables. Okay, and variables I have to pass id. Oh, not id, receiver id. Let me copy it. Yeah, this one, Control C, or this one, Control C, and let me save this files. And here receiver id, and receiver id will be equal to the id that we are getting from the parameter, right? Let's say I'm logged in as Suresh and I want to send message to this Mukesh. Okay, so Mukesh id is 2 that we have already access to, right? So that's the receiver id. So here I'll pass id. But hold on, there is a mistake here. So whenever we access something from a parameter, that value we get in a string form, but this id should be number here, it should be integer here. So we have to convert this string value to integer value. So for that I'll add a plus in front of it. So we can add plus in front of it to convert it into a integer. All right, we are done here, and all now we have to do is here we have to iterate in this thing, data. Okay, yeah. So what we can do is here, first of all, uh, mm, let's log it first. Okay, let me first log all the details. Console.log, I'll just log the data. Okay, let's save this and let me see if I'm able to get it or not. Yep, you can see we are able to get it. Okay, perfect. So we have inside this data we have messages by user. Okay, so here what I can do is I can first of all comment these two lines. This is the static data we have, and here what I could do is basically, if the loading is true, okay, in that case I can return a typography. Maybe variant will be at 6, and we can write loading chats, and else I can add else we have to iterate. So in the data we have messages by user key, right? I can copy this and I can paste it in here, and I can iterate in it using this map. Okay, and we will get individual messages. Okay, and then we can return this message card component here, Control X and Control V. Okay, so we have to pass couple of things to here. So we have to pass text that we have already access. So we have already access to text. Okay, so here I can write message dot text. Okay, and then date also we have access to in created date. Okay, so here I can write message dot created at, and direction. Okay, so this is little tricky. Okay, here we have to write a logic. So let me think of it. here what we can do is here we can compare the ID, right? Because ID is the different. Okay, yeah. So we have receiver ID and we have sender ID also. Yep. Yeah. So what we can do is, let's say if message dot receiver ID is equal to the ID that we are getting. This time these both value wise we can compare. This time this is a integer value and this is a string value. Yeah, or I can add a plus also in front of it. Yeah. If they both are equal, then uh, then we have to show the message. That means that uh, we have sent a message, right? In that case, so we will show the message in the end. Okay, so here if this is true, I can add a question mark. Then in that case we have sent a message, so I will pass end as a direction here. Okay, else we will show it in a start. Yeah, I think this looks good. So yeah, let's save this, and now we should here see the chats. Okay, yep, perfect. Here you can see hello Suresh, what's up? So this Mukesh has sent to me and I have responded, hi Mukesh, I am good. So I am logged in as a Suresh. So again Mukesh is saying that I am recording video on GraphQL. Okay, so we have to give a key prop and also we have to format this date. Okay, two tasks we have. So let's give this key. It's little straightforward here. Let's give this key, and key could be uh, message dot, we can use created at as a key. Perfect. And then now to format this created at, let me open my message card. Oh, we have to format this date here. So we can show the time, right? So what I could do is I can create a new date object using this. I can create a new date and I can pass this date. Okay, and now I will convert this to oh, I have to write here date, and I can convert this to my to local. Do we have something called as local? Huh? Local time string. Yeah, that's good. Let's save this, and this should fix all the issues. Okay, now I can see the time here when this was sent. Perfect. Beautiful. Our UI is so neat and clean. So in the next video, we will be adding a functionality to send a message. So that's it for this one. Alright, now let's add functionality so that we can send the message. Okay, yeah. So, first of all, I need, let me open my chat screen. Yeah, so first of all, I need, when I type on it, I need a state variable to hold the value that I am typing in it. Okay, yes, first of all, I have to import the use state. So here on the top, I'll initialize my state, use state, and I can give it name, let's say text. I think let me check, we do not have this text available variable, right? We do not have, yeah. And then set text. Okay, initially it will be empty here. Okay, yeah. And we should now here I'll add a on change I will get a event here, and then I can update my state set text, and that will be event dot target dot value, and I will make it a controlled text input. For that I can add a value here. So basically I am syncing my state variable and this text field. Yeah, and it will be equal to text. Yeah, perfect. Okay, now once we are done, we should also add a button here. so that we can send this message, right? So for that, I think, let me open material UI and here search for a button. So icons, and we have this material icons, and here let's search for send or send, and yeah, this one. Let me copy this and I have to import it, Control V. Okay, and we have to wrap it in a stack. Okay, yeah, so let me first import the icon here, send icon, use the icon here. Okay, and we have to wrap these two bad boys in a stack, so that they both can be in a single row, right? Yeah, and here I'll give direction, that is row. Okay, let's save this and we should see a button here now. Yep, we can see it, and we will increase the size of this button. Okay, so I can give here font size and that will be large. Okay, let me save this, and yeah, perfect. So it's fine, it's looking good to me. So mm, now let's initialize our use mutation hook here. Okay, yeah, so we will have to import a use mutation hook. Okay, so here I'll import use mutation hook, and here we have to pass the operation that we want to execute. Okay, so let me open my GraphQL folder. I'll close, we have so many files open here. I will close all of them. Yeah, and I can open my mutations, and here we have to write a new mutation. Okay, and let me export it, export const, let's say we can give it a name of send message, and I can copy it from my here create message. We have that create message, right? Yeah, so Control C and Control V, like so. And I think this looks good. So we have to pass two query variable here, receiver ID and text. Okay, no problem, we'll do it. Okay, so from this use mutation we will just import, we have already learned about this use mutation, right? So it gives us two things. First of all, I need to pass my operation here, that is send message. Yep, and here I will give function name. I can call this function when some event occurs, and I'll give it a name of send message. And we have access to loading and data, these all stuff, but we do not need those things. Okay, yeah. Now what we need to do, once we send a message, then somehow we need to show that message on the UI also. We have to change this data, so we can't directly change this data. So in order to do that, we have to create another state here, okay, which will hold our messages. Yep, so what we will have to do here is, here let's create a one more state here, const messages, and here set me messages, and this will be use state, and initially we will keep our array empty here. Okay, yes, and once we get the response, okay, once we get the response, that is once we have the data available, or what we could do is here also we can add on complete. Once we got the response, in that case we can access the data here, and what we will do is we will update our state. So use this set messages, and here we will pass data, and data we have message by users, right? We have this message by users, which is an array, and I can pass it here, control V. Okay, like this. And now I can iterate in this messages, control C, and instead of iterating in this, I can directly iterate in messages, like so. Okay, and now we have our all messages in this messages state. What we could do is, once we send a message, okay, once we send a message, that means this operation got completed. In that case, here also I can add on complete. On complete, we will get the data from the GraphQL server. In that case, we will what we will do is we will append a message to this state, and once we do it, then again that message will show up on our UI, right? So here, to append new message to a message array, we have to use set messages, and here we will get access to our previous message, basically previous state, I should say. So I'm giving it a name of previous messages, and then what we will do is we will create a copy of it, right? So I can use a spread operator, and I can spread all the previous messages, and then I can append a new one, so that I can get access from data, and inside this data we will have a create message, and create message will have all the details. It will have an object in it, right? So create message is basically an object which has these ID tags, receiver ID, all of that stuff. So here I can write create message. That's it. That's we have done here. Okay, now we have to call this function. Control C, and let me here call it. So here I can add on click, and on click we can here again write a function here, or yeah, I can directly call the function here only. I can call send message, and in that send message we have to pass an object, and inside that we have to pass two variables. Okay, so we have to pass receiver ID. Let me copy it. We have to pass this receiver ID, control C, control V, and again we have to convert this into integer ID. So I'll add a plus in front of this ID, and then we will pass text as a variable, and the value of that will be text. Okay, that already we have that text state, right? That's we are done here. Yep, we are done. We have written all the codes. Let's cross our fingers. We have written too much amount of code without testing any of these. Let me cross my fingers and let me try this. Okay, so I'm logged in as a Suresh, and if here I can type, oh nice, and I can click on this button, and here you can see we have the message in our screen. Perfect. And this is the local time that I can see, which is also reflecting correctly here. Perfect. If I reload this, still this message is going to persist. It's not going to go away. Okay, and we can remove the console logs from here. Yep. So we are done here, but there's a problem. We are not receiving the messages in real time. Okay, let's say let me open another browser here. Okay, and let me here open local host 3000, and let me log in as a Mukesh. Okay, so it's not loading, it seems like. Actually I have the token already in my, let me clear that token. I have it from my previous application. Yeah, let me reload this again. Let me log in as Mukesh. So what is the email of Mukesh? I don't remember here. That's mukesh@mukesh.com. Okay, perfect. So Here let me log in as mukesh@mukesh.com and password will be 12345. I log in now, and if I open Suresh Verma here, okay, I can see the messages. And here let's say if I send a message, hey Suresh, okay, if I send it, okay, I can see on my screen, but if I open the my Chrome here, I cannot see that message in real time. So we have to establish two-way communication here. Okay, if I reload this, then I will be able to see it, but I can't receive this message in real time. Okay, so that's the functionality we can achieve using GraphQL subscriptions. So that is the next functionality that we are going to add in our next section. So that's it for this video.